Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.
Hey guys, happy Monday. Welcome in right here to WagerTalk TV. You're watching Puck Time. We have the final Game 7 here between the Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Rangers set. The final game here. The home team has won every single game in this series so far. We'll try and, pick this one apart and figure out if we do think the home team will continue that run, talk about some totals, talk about some props, and everything else in between. Also, the Western Conference Finals are all shaped up and ready to go. It'll be the Edmonton Oilers and the the Colorado Avalanche going head to head. The St. Louis Blues were almost there. They almost did it. The Colorado Avalanche move on. It's going to be a great, great battle with them. Get ready for some goals in that series, Carm. I just cannot wait for that one. But looking forward to breaking down tonight's game. We did not know if we were going to have a Game 7 or not. But hey, that trend with the home and away teams is too strong for it to have just broken down. Carm, want to welcome you in, and I want to congratulate you on that big future hit you had over the weekend in the Champions League action, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was quite the game. It's just 2 years in a row. Last year, Chelsea 20-1. This year, Real Madrid 18-1, and some guys were posting tickets. I was really happy for clients. There's guys that had 33-1, 34-1. We had put it out there at 18-1, and we put it out there at 33-1 after they lost their first game of the knockout stages against PSG. This team, 14 times they have won this competition. Unbelievable. Real Madrid. Sorry to the Liverpool fans out there, but you've got a good team. You'll be back next year. So I was pretty happy about that when everything was said and done. So to the books that didn't cancel my wagers, Andrew, I did collect nicely, which will help with some future vacations. So I won't mention those books because they're not operating legally in Ontario. The ones that are the ones that canceled my wagers, but I'm still working on getting those ones back anyways. But yeah, dude, I thought we were going to have today off. I honestly thought on Saturday that Game 6 might veer away from the home team winning every game in the series that Carolina is involved in, but it didn't. They chased Ranta in that game. They went on to win easily, and here we are. And I'm looking at pictures on Twitter of our fantastic producer with ribs that he's throwing in the smoker and stuff like that. And it's making me hungry. I thought we had today off, but we're going to talk hockey, and let's get to it, man.
Yeah, I look forward to it, Carmen. How about that, the way that Colorado moved on? It definitely wasn't in smooth fashion. It wasn't in blowout fashion by any means. And if you had the regulation bet on the Colorado Avalanche, you hit a nice one there with just seconds to go in that game. They cashed in. So, adversity happens. It's going to be tough to make it to the Western Conference Finals, no matter what team you are. And Colorado figured that out. And, when we talked, you, Dave, and myself on this show on Friday, I asked Dave, hey, is this Colorado's Game 7? Do they have to win this one? And for about a period and a half, it didn't really seem like they were playing with that urgency. But in that third period, they put on a good show. But as you said, we have a game tonight to break down. It is Carolina and New York. Looking forward to talking about this one, Carm. Obviously, Carolina undefeated at home this year in the playoffs and also winless on the road. All right. Looking at the odds for this game tonight, we have, somewhere around the minus 150, 155 range for the Carolina Hurricanes. New York Rangers plus 130. If you want the puck line in this game, as many elimination games, we do see puck lines hit plus 175. Total sits at 5.5 here. Carm, I think the biggest story in this series is evidently Igor Shesterkin, the goaltender for the New York Rangers. I take a look at some of these stats that we talk about with Brian Leonard, the advanced analytical numbers here with the expected goals. The final score of the game on Saturday night was 5-2 for the New York Rangers. The final advanced analytical numbers finished at 3.81 for Carolina and 2.38 for the New York Rangers. That tells you a lot about that game. It tells you a lot about how the game went, tells you a lot about how the players performed, and it tells you a lot about how the goaltenders performed. If you look at Antti Ranta, Carm, I'm someone that defends goaltenders quite a bit, but his expected goals against 1.21. You know how many goals he let in? 3. And Pyotr Kochechkov had to come in and relieve him. How about Igor Shesterkin and his stats? His expected goals against 3.81. How many goals did he allow? 2. And those were just late in the game. So you ask yourself, how do you feel about New York coming in here? How do you feel about how the forward group has been playing? And can Igor Shesterkin steal the series here? And I think he's doing a hell of a job of it. But I'm really interested in your take. And I've got some thoughts on some props and totals and all that stuff as well. But what are your thoughts here? Obviously, the trend is strong, Carm. The home team, dominant, not even really close in this series. The home team has gotten it done. What do you think here? Game 7. Winner gets the Eastern Conference ticket.
Yeah, against the two-time defending Stanley Cup champions. Listen, I went with Carolina in Game 6. I got in front of the home team always wins streak that has been going on with the Canes. I think it was at that time it was 12 in a row. They just can't. I don't get it. It doesn't bode well for either one of these teams in the next round of the playoffs against Tampa Bay. I know it's a new series against a different team, but Carolina they do it at home. How do you not want to take? Listen, Shesterkin's great. He's been fantastic at home. Not so great on the road, but he's still been good enough on the road. But you look at Andrew, if you look at the numbers for Carolina, they're 7-0 at home. They're outscoring their opponents 3.57 to 1.14. I know we're breaking it down into percentages or fractional numbers, but this is what it is. They're outscoring opponents by almost 2.5 goals per game at home. And then you look at Ranta. He was chased in the last game, but Ranta at home thus far in the playoffs. And let's remember, he's not their number one goalie. Freddie Anderson was, but he's 6-0 with a .097 goals against average at home and a .965 save percentage. It's phenomenal numbers. As much as you talk about Shesterkin, let's talk about Ranta at home. He's allowing less than a goal a game at home. And then you look at it, and if we're worried about how Carolina does in Game 7s, whether they're worried about Game 7s, they just come off a Game 7 against the Boston Bruins. They have won 6 straight Game 7s, Carolina has, which is the most consecutive Game 7s won by a team. And if they win tonight, it'll be 7. They'll have the record for the most Game 7s. Personally, I wish this hadn't gone 7 games. I just wish Carolina had won it in 5, had won it in 6. But here we are, Game 7. It's priced a little higher than it probably should be at -150. Andrew, I get it. They're at home. They've been fantastic at home, but I don't think they've been -150 in any of the home games during this series at home. I could be wrong, and you can correct me, but it just seems 150 is a lot higher than what it has been. But I think it's the books adjusting to what has happened in this series. So with home teams winning them all. So with that said, I'm taking Carolina tonight.
Yeah, I think it's been like ballpark near there, but not that high is what I'll say. What do you think, Carm? Like 140 before? I think it was like pretty high, but not this high. But I've also seen money coming in on New York, surprisingly, here tonight. Thinking that the way they've been playing, finding a way to win, this should be the night. I want to bring up this heat map I have. I brought up a few times on the show over the course of the season, but I felt like tonight was a good example to show people kind of what we talk about with these advanced numbers. So obviously the larger circles are the more dangerous opportunities. And you take a look at the New York Rangers, where are their dangerous opportunities coming from? Where are their chances being created from? and it's all the outside. I mean, if you look at that one on the far left side for New York, that one, it shouldn't be a dangerous scoring opportunity. If you look at Carolina, all of their scoring opportunities, there's several right in front of the net, not from the outside. And what this really shows me is that Carolina is doing a fantastic job keeping the New York Ranger forwards to the outside, forcing them to shoot from out there. Besides a couple of those dots there on the right side of that image, we don't see much close to the net for the New York Rangers. So when I look at this game and I see that the 5-2 score from last game at Madison Square Garden, really, I don't think that that's what the game style was like. I don't think the scoreboard reflects how the game went. And sometimes in hockey, you see that. I mean, I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan. I'll be the first person to tell you that Carey Price sometimes last year had to make 50 saves for the Canadiens to win a playoff game. So that sometimes it's not all about shot count, but shot quality is really important. And to me, this image really tells me a lot about which teams created. And, Carm, I think in the handicapping business, quotes are kind of, I don't want to say over talked about, but people you can twist a quote anyway, I guess is what I'm going to say. You and I could both read a quote and take it, make our own narratives. But what I love about the Between the Benches segment there with Rod Brendamore, pretty much during the game, he's the most honest coach, and it's just hilarious. He's like, yeah, like we're firing good shots, creating good opportunities. They're just not going in right now. And it seemed like the frustration level settled in for Carolina, but they also have to know they played a pretty good game. And I think if they do the exact same thing they did last game, some of those pucks will go in and the outcome will be a little bit different. How do you feel about the total in this one, though, with that, heat map being said and everything? I was so up and down last game with it. I liked the over during the day, and then I ended up leaning towards the under at the end of the day. I couldn't make my mind up, Carm. What do you think here? Elimination game. What are your thoughts as far as the total goes?
Yeah, it's tough because it's a game 7. You pretty much every game in the series prior to a game 6 had gone under the total. And this is just one of those ones where you look at it, it's juiced. It's like 140 or 145. You can find some 5s out there where you're not paying that big if you think it's really going to be a much lower scoring game. But if we look back to round 1, I think there was 5 game 7s in the first round of the playoffs. And I'm pretty sure 3, if not 4 of those games went under the total. I don't have the numbers, and I'll probably look them up when you take over from me right now. But those games, they seem to be tighter. We don't need a game 7 for scoring to be tight between these two teams because they haven't given each other much. We see usually during the first 20 or 30 minutes, there is a lot of up and down play, and we see a lot of shots on goal. The Canes have gotten a lot of shots on goal, but a lot of shots on goal doesn't equate to a high danger chances or higher expectancy numbers. I know they did in previous games, but it just seems that when we get into the last 30 minutes of any game between these two teams, it just seems to have slowed to a crawl in the sense of they just play a tighter checking game, Andrew. It's you think it's going to go over, and then it doesn't. And we're creatures of habit. We want to see scoring in games, but I'm a little different. I like to see unders. I'm kind of old school in that regard. So I don't mind these 3-2 type of games, unless I've got a team on the puck line, of course. Then I'd rather them, much like Colorado does, light it up. But with that said, I just don't see, even in a game 7, and it's an elimination game, obviously, for both teams, and we can't predict what's going to happen in the third period. It's what happens in the first and second periods. And if this is a low-scoring game heading to that third period, I just don't see how it opens up to get this one over the total. So with that said, I would have to lean to the under, but I'm not laying that kind of juice. I'll watch the number throughout the day, and if I believe it's going to go under 5.5, I'd rather just take a 5 at that point because the 6th goal is going to beat you regardless. But I'd rather take under 5, get a push if it lands on a 3-2 score or 2-2 that goes to overtime, but not lose out on that heavy juice that you're going to be laying. Minus 145, minus 150 on and under is crazy. You can take under 5, and you can probably lay a minus 110 or even get plus money on the under 5.
Yeah, definitely not something I want to do is have, juice like that towards a total. But of course, as you mentioned there, Carm, it makes sense why it is like that. The numbers show it. What these teams have showed us makes sense. And, we can understand what the odds makers are thinking, but I'd go right there with you and take the 5 if I wanted the under. And, you know, I can't explain why this is. And this is just kind of just based on what I've seen. I've preached on this show about third period overs. I've preached about overs and elimination games. But for some reason, it hasn't been game sevens. For some reason, these game sevens, it's almost like teams play the first 10 to 15 minutes not to lose. They play conservatively. They play safe. They protect their own end. And a lot of the times, whoever gets that first goal, especially in this series, is the winner of the game, especially when they have the ability to, a soccer expression, park the bus, use their forwards to dump that puck in, keep the defenders back in the blue line, don't let them pinch up too much. And all of a sudden the game starts to have an even slower pace than it already did. So I'd be right there with you looking at the 5 here. Taking a look at last game's numbers here, it seems like the Kreider, Zibanejad, and Vetrano line was the best line for the New York Rangers for anybody looking towards props. But the Panarin, Kopp, and Strome line, you can actually get a lot of value on some goal scorers and some props there. But one that I think continuously gets slept on for the Carolina Hurricanes is the Niederreiter, Stahl, and Fast line. This was the second highest expected goal line for Carolina in that game 6. And when you're that third line, you're going to get way better odds on these guys to get a point, get a goal, get an assist, all that type of good stuff. And, Carm, I tweeted out after the last game and just said, how can home ice be this huge? How is it this crazy? And you think about matchups. People said to me, it's matchups. And I understand. I've been talking about how the home team gets the last change, but it's pretty unthinkable that it makes that big of a difference. But it really does, especially for a team like Carolina that has 4 lines that are very unique in their own way. The Niederreiter, Stahl, and Fast line is way different than the Trocheck, Svechnikov, and Nikas line. And same thing with the Lafreniere, Chidel, and Kako line compared to the Panarin, Kopp, and Strome line. These lines are all different. So with 2 great coaches like Gallant and Brendamore, they get to mix up their lines and put out whoever they want against each other. The home team definitely has an advantage. And we can both agree these are 2 great coaches in the NHL. So I would be with you towards the under. I just think it's going to have a really slow start. And then, if you want the over, you'll need a spurt of goals. That game, we saw both goalies, actually. Yeah. There was one tough one for Shesterkin, but Carolina, Ranta just did let in 1 or 2 goals that he usually wouldn't have, as I read off those advanced numbers earlier in the show, Carm. So I'm right there with you on the under here. And I believe that, like you said, the game 7s are continuously going under.
Yeah, Andrew, and let me make sure my mic is on as I say this to you, because I muted it for a second to cough. But you look at our live lines, and the totals are across the board. On WagerTalk's live lines, it's as high as -145 on the under, as low as, I think the lowest I'm seeing is DraftKings at -135. That's a lot of juice. And like I said, the 5 is out there, and if you like the 5, you can save 40 cents of juice by taking under 5. It's -105 out there as well too. I'm a big, I've talked about all season, a big proponent of minimizing the amount of juice you're paying, because long term it affects your bankroll, it affects your bottom line, unless you can consistently pick teams that are juice that are going to win, but you lose a couple of them and you're in trouble. So I look to minimize it. -145. I'd rather end up. This is a long-term thing, not a one-game thing, but long-term. I'd rather end up with a push on a game that lands on 5, and instead of laying the -145 type of juice. Long-term, if you start losing those 145s, you're in trouble. You lose 2, you've got to win 3 to make that back up. So. With that said, you work out the math. It's like 60% hit rate, right? Just to break even on those. So with that said, Andrew, I'll likely take the under 5 as a personal bet, not as a WagerTalk play.
And one thing I gotta say that I've been wrong about is the fact that I've been taking these first period unders when I think it's going to be a low scoring game in the playoffs, and that's actually done horribly for me, honestly, Carm, for lack of better words. Like a lot of times, I'm thinking maybe this game will open up, so I'm going to take the first period under. And for some reason, in all the series we've seen so far in the playoffs that are relatively low scoring, the first period will somehow get 2 quick ones, and then the game finishes 2-1. Or 3-1 or something like that. So I would advise people to take the full game under 5, not the 1.5 under first period today, just because there might be, a quick one to start the game, or, a quick one and then an answer from the other team. And then we won't see a goal until 5 minutes left in the second period again. So just kind of my 2 cents. And I just want to be transparent about that, because the first periods I have noticed, like look at the last game, Carm. Obviously some weird goals in that game, but that first period over cashes, and without a couple weird goals, that game almost stays under as well.
Yeah, and Andrew, you make a good point on that. As far as like that the first period stuff. Here's the one thing, and I'm taking it outside of the actual teams and the goalies and the coaches. I just hope this is a game 7. Let the guys play, and I get it. A call in the first period is the same as a call in the third period. But the officials need to understand in this game, the game is not about them. We need a good officiated game, because we've seen some really bad officiated games in the not only I think across all sports, but in the NHL playoffs, we've seen some bad calls, some bad officiating. Let's let the teams decide it tonight. And speaking of bad officiating, Andrew, I'm not sure if you guys watch this or anybody in our chat watched this game yesterday, but I watched the Canada versus Finland gold medal game, and the guy from Finland in the third period high-sticked himself in the face, cross-checked himself in the face, and the Canadian player got a 2-minute high-sticking penalty for it. Finland ended up scoring twice on the power play and ended up going on to win that game in OT. But high sticking yourself in the face, I don't even know how you can. Can you imagine if that happened tonight
Did
and
you
a penalty
watch,
gets called?
Did you watch Dubois' interview after that, Carm?
No, I didn't. I literally shut it off the minute that game ended in OT, because I didn't want to watch any of the celebration. So,
so I got a question for you here, and pretty much Dubois was just like saying that with these IIHF like World Hockey rules, like you don't even know what kind of hockey you're playing anymore. It's hard when you go from the NHL to a league like that. He pretty much was very non-media trained in that interview. I'll put it that way. He was very blunt, just spoke his mind pretty much about the rules and how he felt. And I mean, it's tough, but hey, it's pretty cool that in that tournament, Finland won it at home. But I got a question for you. This is not planned out, so I'm going to hear it from you after the show saying, hey, you threw a question at me. But all right, Carm, if I gave you tonight Igor Shesterkin over or under 31.5 saves, where are you going with that?
Igor Shesterkin over 31.5 saves.
Last game, Carolina puts 2 goals on the board and gets 39 shots on goal.
Yeah, I think they're going to get shots on goal. I haven't looked at what their average shot count is at home, but they seem to get a lot of pucks on goal. You know what I mean? Just off of memory, I look at some of the first periods, and then I see, I'm like, Carolina's got 17 shots on goal, and this game is scoreless, right? And again, they're not high danger chances at times, but they get the puck at the net, and this is what they do. They fire off, and that's why sometimes I look at the shot goal props, Andrew, for some of the players. As I did in game 6, I took a couple of Carolina players shot goal props, and they both won. And I took one for the Rangers that didn't hit on Saturday. But I would go over the shot count on him, because he's not going to get chased in the game. As much as I would love Carolina to blow them out tonight, he's not going to get chased. He's their goalie. He's going to be in there. And 31 seems about right. About an average of 10 or so. And the one caveat, and I hope again I'm wrong on this, is that count goes up if the game goes to overtime, which I hope it doesn't. But what would be better as a hockey fan than a game 7 that goes to overtime? You would love to see it. It just we
And
love
we've seen it
them
with Carolina,
unless
man. We've seen it with Carolina in the past few years.
unless we have
They've
action
gone
on it,
down.
right? So I think
Yeah.
against Nashville, last season in the opening round, I think they went to overtime in Game 6. I think 5 of the 6 games in that Nashville series with Carolina, I think went to OT if I remember correctly. So with that said, this team's very good in Game 7s, Andrew. This team is very good in these situations, and they've been very good at home. But Game 7s, man, are just a completely different beast. You look at, and I get it, we're crossing sports here, but everyone, I think, except for me, thought that Miami going and winning Game 6 in Boston and coming home in Game 7, it was a slam dunk, even though they were a dog in that game. I took Boston minus 2.5 in that game. I was pretty happy with the outcome. But with that said, our producers just, yes.
Everybody
well,
but
no,
you.
I'm reading everything I read on Twitter was like, Miami, we got this. Well, you don't got it. It was Boston. Anyways,
Hey, well,
let's get
congrats
back to
to
hockey.
a lot of people at WagerTalk, man, because I was looking at the yesterday plays, and it seems like you and a lot of people from WagerTalk had the Celtics as well. What a game that was. But yeah, that is minus 105 for the over 31.5 saves, minus 120 on DraftKings for him to go under that number. And to me, that's the recipe for success.
Wow.
It's minus 120 on the under, minus 105 for the over. And I think it goes over 100%. Win or loss, I think it goes over, but especially in victory for the Rangers, I think they have to go over. So, I always tell people this, but the plus 130 looks nice. It's appealing to the eye. Plus money is always great. You're going to get more back than you bet type of thing. Bet 100, you're going to get 130. But when you look at these stats, I mean, when I look at the Mika Zibanejad numbers, when I look at the Ryan Strome numbers, shots on goal, when I look at the Igor Shesterkin save prop, that's what I like, from a perspective of the New York Rangers. That's what I think is really the play. Do you see them winning a game where they keep the Carolina Hurricanes to, 32, 33 shots and they win it in low scoring fashion? I don't. And that to me is shocking that that's a minus 120 towards the under. So it's a play I really do like. But Carm, a play that you have for a prop for your best bet, I really like for tonight. And I was mad I didn't bet on that guy to score in Game 6, as I did talk about him to a few buddies. But if you don't have anything else to add, we'll get into those prop best bets here.
Yeah, because you threw that question. I mean, I'm pretty good with them. I don't mind rogue questions, Andrew, but I just quickly looked at Carolina's 3 games at home against the Rangers in this series, and 26 shots and 22 shots in the first 2 games, both wins. And in the 3-1 Game 5 victory, 34 shots on goal. So even I was wrong there. If you had asked me what the average average shots on goal were in the 3 games that Carolina has played the Rangers thus far at home, I would have told you that was 30 or more shots on goal. So I was definitely off there. 26, 22, and 34 shots on goal in the 3 games. So maybe DraftKings has the correct number there.
I mean, they are the bookmakers for a reason. They do know what they're talking about a lot of the time, but I just thought,
but they're not always right. They're not always right. This is why we play these ones, right? And to your point of like plus money, we'll get to a plus money play. I'm just going to throw. I'm going to call it a Bianco dart today in our show best bet segment.
It's not a dart, Carm. Come on, it's a good pick. It's not a dart. I think it's a great pick. Let's hear it. Let's get
we'll
right
get
to
there.
it. $9 Monday, WagerTalk.com. Every play, every handicapper, $9. I've got some plays up. I've got a big play up, actually 5%. Carm, what's going on for you today? And let's get to that juicy plus money prop bet.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, before I get to that, real quickly, I'm gonna say, when we talked about it on the weekend about having a show today, I said to our producer who's celebrating, it's Memorial Day there, and the guy's got ribs in his smoker. I'm like, listen, it's one game. We're gonna keep this to 20 minutes, or Andrew shaves his head. And now he just posted a quick message. Yeah, we're keeping this to 20 minutes, aren't we? We're at 30 minutes and counting. So with that said, an NHL play up tonight, along with some prop bets that I'm loading. I've got a series price up as well too. A couple different series options as well too on $9 Mondays. That's it for now. As far as that goes, my show best bet, I'm going to go with the Carolina player score. He's scored in the last 2 games, and these are juicy odds. I'm taking, if you're looking at Carolina to win tonight, you're hoping they're going to get a few goals at the very least. Vincent Trocheck, plus 300 to score tonight, plus 300 on Trocheck. I'm going to play that one. Hope that Carolina wins tonight. Hope that we get some goals, and Trocheck is part of that. He scored in Game 5. He scored in Game 6. Let's see him make it a trio of games with a goal tonight at plus 300, Andrew. Some juicy odds.
Absolutely love it. He's been a great player for them, creating lots of chances. It's going to be a great game. I cannot wait for this one tonight. Who doesn't love a Game 7? You got to wonder if they're going to bring Justin Williams out of retirement for the Carolina Hurricanes, a notorious overtime winner. Guys scored several of them for Carolina. But hey, will the home team continue to win in this series? We'll find out and discuss more of that tomorrow on the show. But guys, I have a big play up, a 5% play up tonight at WagerTalk.com. Several plays up across all sports. Looking forward to an exciting end to May and a really fun June here. CFL action gets started as well. I got a package going up for the CFL Canadian Football League, and I'm going to try and get a little combo package for CFL, college football, and NFL going. We'll see if I can get that organized. But my power play for the show, we're looking at Andrei Svechnikov over 0.5 points to record a point tonight for his team. His line has been very dangerous. They've been very physical. They've been, getting dangerous opportunities in those dirty areas, like I showed on the graphic earlier. And I feel like a guy like that is what they need. If he performs at a good level, I feel like they'll have some success. If not, it'll be tough for them. So Svechnikov to get a point, I feel like is crucial for that team, and we get a great number with it as well. So Trocheck to score a goal for Carm at an unbelievable price there at a plus 300, and I have Svechnikov over 0.5 points. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Pretty long show, I guess, 30 minutes. Hopefully you see us tomorrow, and our producer didn't cut off all of our mic cords. But we'll see you tomorrow. We have a big Game 1, Edmonton, Colorado. Don Buster joins us. On behalf of Carmine, I'm Andrew. We'll see you later.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.